Let it go, Monday is here. Please do not fear. We just learned here how the body works. I'm not a jerk. I'm out of words. Man, I really struggled with that intro. Sorry about that. Changing the words kind of got me off guard there, but today's episode is about the 10 senses. The 5 you learned about in school and the 5 you probably didn't. So chances are good you've probably already learned about the first 5, probably in elementary school, but maybe in high school. But for those of you who might not have remembered them all, for example, you've got taste, touch, sight, smell, and hearing, obviously. You've probably heard about these ones, but I might get into later episodes of them if you want. But let's get into the other 5 you might not have heard of. So, the sixth sense I'm going to get into is your vestibular sense. And I'm going to write these on the bottom of the screen. Hopefully, I'll remember for all of these. But your vestibular sense is basically your body's primary system for balance and spatial orientation, so to say, to kind of understand if you're laying down, standing up, sort of thing, for the most part, partially, anyways. And detecting movement within your head, obviously, all thanks to the inner part of your ear. That kind of helps you with your balance and understanding where your head is in comparison to the rest of your body, basically. So, aside from your vestibular system, you've also got, I have a hard time with this word, I have it written down here, pro, proprioceptive system. You've got your proprioceptive system, which kind of works similar to your vestibular system in the sense of helping with balance and knowing your body position in space, but involves more of certain receptors in your muscles, in your ligaments, in your joints, um, to kind of send signals to your brain to kind of help understand where you are positionally, but where your inner ear will help vestibularly to kind of understand your balance. Your proprioceptive input is more from your body to tell you where the rest of your body is in position to your head, instead of the vestibular system, which is kind of telling you where your head is compared to the rest of your body. It works together, but it's going two separate ways, if that's making sense. I am going to get into these in future videos, but that's kind of a basic rundown of those two. Let's get into number 8. So the eighth sense of the body is the interoception sense. And this is what basically tells your brain what's going on in your body in the sense of things like hunger, thirst, having to go to the bathroom, how your heart rate is doing, how your respiratory system is doing, things like that. It kind of, tells you those types of things, hunger and all that stuff. And since there's so many things that work together for that to happen, I'm not going to get into very specific details in this video. I'm going to do a future video on a lot of these senses and break them down individually so this doesn't turn into like a 20-minute video and I'm not wasting your time. So keep your eye out for future videos if you want to know further information about these. But basically, your interoception sense is, your hunger, thirst, bathroom, all that sort of thing. And number 9 would be your thermoception sense. And as you could probably guess, anything with thermo in it involves temperature, usually, anyways. And your thermoception is, your skin, all these sensories in your skin and your muscles that send signals between your brain and your skin, because your brain has such a sensory too, and tells you whether you're cold, hot, that sort of thing. Pretty simple. I don't think I have to get into that very much. And number nine would be your thermoception sense. And as you could probably guess, anything with thermo in it involves temperature, usually, anyways. And your thermoception is, your skin, all these sensories in your skin and your muscles that send signals between your brain and your skin, because your brain has such sensory too, and tells you whether you're cold, hot, that sort of thing. And number 10, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing this, because I read medical information a little more than I actually watch videos and TV about it, although I have. But in this scenario, I'm not entirely sure. I believe it's nociception. Could be nociception, but it's going to be on the bottom of the screen. And I'm sure many of you could probably figure this out without me telling you, because it's the one thing you can feel that I haven't mentioned yet. But things like pain, like if, you got shot, broke your ankle, rolled your ankle, popped a hip, pain, and this is obviously coming from your neurological system and cooperates with your brain on that one. It can, in the sense, feel extreme cold or extreme heat. For example, I know you've got your thermal system, which communicates temperature, but like when it comes to extreme cold or extreme heat, for example, that might actually cause damage to your nerves or cause you pain. That's where your nociception system comes in handy. So basically, these are your 10 systems. The five you probably learned in school, and then the five you probably didn't learn in school. And I might make future videos on the more complicated ones and get into bigger detail on such topics, but I figured for the sake of just running through the 10 different senses of the body, I was gonna, you know, at least get through that so you had an idea of all the different senses of the body. So I hope you're all doing well and take care.